Runners of all abilities and ages are welcome to take part in the Connecticut Night Run. It takes place on Sunday the 26th of April in Dublin. You can start the 10k distance on the quays and run through the heart of the city, past iconic landmarks under the night sky. There's great scenery, a fantastic atmosphere and an unforgettable experience. You can register online now at nightrun.ie. And I'm delighted to say that Aidan O'Mahony, former Kerry footballer and ambassador for Connecticut Night Run, is with us on the line now. How are you, Aidan? Thanks for taking the call.
I'm good on, how are you?
All well, all well. There's only one place to start, really, the big news out of Kerry over the course of the weekend. Donny Buckley on the way out. He will no longer be involved with Peter Keane's setup. What was your initial reaction when you heard this news?
Yeah, I suppose disappointment. I know Donny and, I know he's kind of love for the game, love for football, love for Kerry as well. And, it was just disappointing. I suppose I was there in 2011 when Donny was involved, and I found him very good, I suppose, defensively. He's a great way of working with, I suppose, defenders and one-on-one, and I suppose he brought something different to my game in that when you go man marking, he knew the opposition forwards inside out, and he probably brought that kind of tackling mentality as well that we've seen with Mayo over the last couple of years. That's kind of held on to as well. Yeah, I just think, for me, he's a very kind of positive fella as well. So he'll obviously be lost around the place.
Yeah, absolutely. So what exactly does he do then? Is it working on the art of the tackle? You mentioned working on opposition there, so he's obviously involved in the tactical element of being a defender too.
Yeah, I just think when he came on board in 2011, he just kind of broke down the tackling and started off from the very basic where, you're starting with your feet, and then it was all about making, I suppose, contact with the player first before you ever even thought about the ball and stopping him up, and then learning how to strip the ball from him. And I think his biggest thing was that I knew myself when we were playing big games that he knew the forward that you were marking, what leg he was going to kick with and what runs he'd make, and probably what they wouldn't like you, how to mark him differently, and that at least when you're going into the game then you had that confidence, and that's what I found that was very beneficial to me. And I remember even when he wasn't involved, I can remember ringing him up and just asking about certain forwards that I'd mark him and how I'd mark him and stuff like that. So I just found him very beneficial. And as I said, he's a great love for the game as well, and he's a very interesting character, when you speak to as well.
Why did he leave in 2011?
That I don't know. I think that was between himself and the management team. I don't really know the ins and outs of it. As a player, I think you don't get involved in it, in that, I suppose from our side, when you're playing, you just want to play, you go training, and all your focus is probably gearing All Ireland. And I suppose there's something between the management and the county board, I can answer that one. Yeah,
I guess so. And was it a situation that it was in the middle of the season and then he was there one night and not there for the next session?
Yeah, and it filters into players. Well, I know that time myself. We had a few sessions. I think we were training Clarny Legion or something, and it's exactly what you said there. When you're getting used to someone being involved with you and helping you out, and then all of a sudden they're gone. It obviously has some effect. But I think players now, there's so much involved in the game as well that they move on, and you're judging your performance in the game. So I have no doubt the lads will move on as well. Their concentration will be on the league this weekend, and not that tied and give to man and to Benji and the lads to kind of focus your mentality.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to. You're very well placed to answer this question, because the fear from Kerry's perspective is that they lose everything that Donny Buckley has brought to them. But you suspect that actually the lessons learned over the last 18 months will be carried on over the next few months and hopefully years. From Peter Keane's perspective, was that the case for you, that the messages from Donny Buckley were still being heard loud and clear after he had left?
I suppose it's different. I think Eamon came in that time with Jack, and Eamon took over the reins of management as well. And he was excellent. He was probably one of the best man managers I've seen with players and stuff. And I don't know what's going ins and outs with the Kerry senior setup, but they've a big backroom team now, and you've Peter, he's been there with the minors, and Tommy Griffin, you've Maurice Fitz, and you've Jason McGahan, so you've one of the head strength conditioning coaches in the country, and they have a great setup there. And I see even at the moment in the games, they're this kind of mentality. I know some people give you out saying, oh, they only got over the line against Meath, or they only got over the line against Galway, but they're actually closing out games now, whether before even though time that they might be lost in us. So I just think that they have a great setup there. And look, as I said, Peter, he's obviously a great manager because he's won 3 minor All-Irelands, and he's bringing that in, and he knows the players as well. I just think that there'll be that trust in him as well, because the players have played under him with the minor, and they know his form and stuff.
Yeah, I think you're bang on the money there about Kerry being able to close out the game better in the league so far this year. It was clearly something that might have cost them in All-Ireland in the drawn game last year. You could see against Mayo last week that they were almost trying to keep possession when they didn't need to keep possession, trying to instill a possession game in the first half, which is what you want to see during the league. At the same time, though, only London and Leitrim have conceded more than them in the entire Allianz League so far this year. It sounds like you're willing to give them a free pass on that at the moment because they're trying out new things.
Well, I think the biggest thing, like you'll probably be judged on, is winning All-Ireland. I don't think nobody's going to be looking back in the league. Even last year, you know, I suppose you talk about Kerry in the second game against Dublin. You know, I suppose Dublin in the first game when obviously Cluxton pushed out and Tommy Walsh, and you know they had that bit between the teeth. They know how to win like Dublin, and I think for Kerry, I think they're trying out a lot of things in the league. Plus, I think it was there in my time as well where people talk about, defensively. Like, I think the day of going man for man is gone because teams aren't playing the traditional 15 on 15. They're playing dropping players back and they're coming in runs in. I think after the league, I think they'll know a lot about themselves, and I think come championship, which is the most important thing for Kerry, obviously, is that they'll be in a great position because I know the backs they have more on the likes of Paul Muffs, my own club. These guys, you know, they're unbelievable athletes and they're fierce condition and they're totally professional athletes now, Owen, compared to our time where we'd winter off. These lads they're training constantly, and you know, like, so they're giving everything to the game. And I genuinely think they're it's a click away from winning All-Ireland. I just think, like, this year, I think it's very positive. As I said, like, they've brought that mentality. Even the Galway game in Tralee that night, you know, that was a game that could have slipped away from, but they stuck in there and they got through it. Same with the Meath game, you know, like, and they haven't been back training that long either. So I just think come championship, I think they'll know their six backs in their midfield, and you're bringing David Moran back into it, and the likes of Jack Sherwood and Peter Crowley hopefully will be back as well. So no, they're three big players, and I just think that as a unit, they'll come championship, which is the most important time. They'll fit well.
Yeah, and second in the league at the moment. Even if you do judge it on league, it's clearly not all doom and gloom. Aidan, I want to get your take on the Dubs so far under Dessie Farrell, especially what they're doing defensively, the edge that they're showing. Obviously, there was a brawl, a fairly sizable brawl at that up in Healy Park in Omagh. You can blame Tyrone for that, but I'm sure the Dubs had something to play for in that as well. They've had a few players sent off during this league.
Yeah.
They haven't lost anything under Dessie Farrell, have they, in that regard?
No, and look, I've played above Tyrone myself. there was nothing too easy when we went up there, and you know, I think the league has been fantastic so far. And like, obviously, yeah, you don't want to see that in the game, but there's a massive fight in all the games we've seen so far this year. And you know, people were writing off Tyrone and make it hard after two games, and all of a sudden they've turned over Kerry and Dublin above their own home patch. Like, and so I just think the Dubs, under Dessie Farrell, yeah, I think he's come in, and like you probably say early on, is there pressure? Obviously there is, as a manager coming in, because they're winning 5 in a row, and you know, I think the last of their players are in their prime at the moment, and they just haven't changed. I think that they've an amazing mentality that I just think they love playing football. You know, they're good at what they do, the systems they play. They're bringing in new players. You know, even the league there already, they're unearthing 2 or 3 new players that are just kind of coming back into the panel. And then I suppose what we never mention is like the likes of Bernard Brogan and Paul Flynn, these guys retiring, O'Gara, which were huge players for them, and all of a sudden they're being replaced by the new guys that are coming in, like, and they're going to be very, very hard to stop. Like as I said, they only came back in January training, and like they're up to the pace of the game already. And I think for Dessie Farrell, he's probably learning as well, like, in that the great thing about a new manager coming in is that players that mightn't have been seen for the team or the panel before know that they have an opportunity to impress him then, and you know, he might go with something different. So it kind of freshens up the panel if it's going stale. But on the other side, then you're probably, as a player, if you started last year, you're probably looking over your shoulder saying there's a new manager coming in here.
Yeah.
You might have different ideas, so it kind of keeps them on their toes as well.
This idea of the Dublin defence evolving has been something that's been spoken about quite a bit over the last few years. You've got the likes of Philly McMahon, Johnny Cooper. They've clearly changed their game to some extent, I'd imagine, over the last few years. What have you noticed about them in terms of holding on to their positions?
Yeah, I think, look, every team needs a Johnny Cooper or a Philly McMahon or even a John Small, put them into that bracket where, you know, they're like enforcers of the team. And, you know, in any club or any county, you'll always talk about, you have a certain centre-back or full-back that he's like an enforcer on the pitch, and they do all the kind of dirty work so that the other players can kind of shine around them. And that's what they are. They're great man-markers of the game. Like, you look at James McCarthy there, he's so versatile there. He's playing midfield, he's playing wing-back. You know, the All-Ireland that he's moved back into, even the full-back line. They remind me a lot, even our team in the noughties, where I remember even when Jack was training us, that one game you could be cornerback, next game you might be wing-back, centre-back, and you're detailed to, I suppose, mark players, and that's what their team have. And you know, I think they bring a great mentality as well. Like, I suppose a lot of people spoke about Johnny Cooper last year, and he got sent off in the first game, and you know, he came back in the second game, and that mindset of just, I suppose forgetting about that game, and he had an excellent game in the second match, and they have. I think that mentality when you have a strong panel, that when there's players kind of vying for your jersey every week, or even if you're playing league games, kind of saying, geez, I need to play well in the league game here, because if I don't, this guy's going to come in, he's going to take my jersey. That's amazing for a team and the likes of Owen Murchison and these guys coming through. That they have the conveyor belt of talent coming through for Dublin is constant. You can see that with their under 20s as well. So I think it's just for other teams need to, I suppose, get a bit of luck, and I don't think they're invincible. They're amazing what they've done, and that, I suppose, that thirst, that hunger they have for success every year I think it's kind of driving on the other teams as well. And you have the Kerrys and the Tyrones, and I think Donegal as well are a team that are definitely coming down the line that are going to put up to the big teams. So it'll have the makings of a great championship this year.
What is the best characteristic or the most important characteristic you need to find in that enforcer that you mentioned in defence? Is it having an edge? Is it being able to read the game? Is it something else?
I think it's a bit of everything, really. I suppose a lot of times you go to games, I know of my own career, Mahony's at it again, or, I can be kind of tussling away with the man, but yeah, they have. As I said, the big thing, one of the enforcers probably a big thing, but they do a man marking job on someone, and I've seen that with Tilly McMahon for years there. He'd man mark someone next, all of a sudden he goes up the field and kicks a point, and it's inspirational. And they're I suppose they do things that the team see that maybe outside of we wouldn't see, that even at training that they're hammering into their man, I suppose, and they're getting the forwards kind of used to what's coming down the line for them as well, because if we look at Dublin forwards, they're marquee forwards, and every team is going to try to man mark them or double mark them when they come to the big games. And I suppose when you're marking someone in and out, nights out, with Philly McMahon or John Small on your tail, and that can only improve you as a player. And I just think they bring that mentality of, I even looked last year, I think the full backs block on Stephen O'Brien there, was it the first game or the second game? It was just, it is a big bearing in the game, and they are just, as a unit, I just think they're physically very conditioned, and they're very good footballers. And that's the other side of it. They're very versatile, and that they can play in a range of positions, and that's very healthy signed in for a team.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the focus that they would put on a marquee forward. It's something that obviously David Clifford would have experienced. He would have experienced quite a lot of close attention that opening night in Croke Park. Gave a lot back, I think most people from Kerry will admit. And then he experienced it again a couple of weeks later in Tyrone, when he obviously got sent off and wasn't happy with the officials at all. What would your word of advice be to someone like David Clifford, who is going to consistently be targeted like that over the next few years of his career?
Yeah, I think, David's a great guy. I was looking up at him at college this year down in Tralee IT here. And he just loves the game. We used to train in the morning times there. We used to do recovery sessions with him, and he'd be in training with us, and just a great guy. But I think he's just such a level-headed fella that he knows it's coming. I suppose going into games, he's always going to be earmarked to be either the team's best man marker, or he's going to be double marked, and people are going to be pulling and dragging out him, see if they can get a response. But I think he was unfortunate the day above Tyrone, but he was probably fortunate as well, in that I think referees and linesmen will be watching more for it now and see if he's getting attention off the ball. But David's he's a big, if you've seen him in person, he's a big unit, so he's well able to mind himself. And he's still only 20, 21 years of age, and he's playing, people spoke about getting the captaincy this year. He's your ideal captain, because he does his talking on the pitch. They were saying the last one, I think he did a quiet game, and he still kicked 4 or 5 points. He's just, I think we're a very lucky generation that we have someone like him and Sean O'Shea, and obviously we're Dublin there as well, and Mike Murphy, that, people, you see the games in Kerry at the moment, the league games in Killarney and Treat, that they're filling out the stadium to come watch this guy. So he's well able to mind himself, and I just think he lets his talking to the football the whole time.
County League was back at the weekend in Kerry. It was a 1-point loss for Rathmore against Beaufort. Are you back playing yourself this year again, Aidan?
I am, unfortunately. I was up to country the weekend, so I missed the first league game. So I'm back training with the club. I'm back since January, and loving it. I'm pushing on now with the years, but I'm still as competitive as ever. We have new management team. Derek Mine from Rathmore has taken over us, and it's great. We were there most nights. I'm training most nights. I think any night I go training, I bring the average age up about 20 years. So I'm not sure if they're happy to see me there or not. But no, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. The body is still in good shape. And I mind myself. So look, as long as I can stay playing, I'll play. And I just love it all. It's part of who I am, and it's what I grew up in. And I'm not a kind of a fella that just wants to hang on to see if we win something, or for that reason. I just love the whole training side, and the harder the better.
What position can people see you play for Atmore at the moment?
Geez, I don't know. If I put myself in a position, the manager could be listening saying, Jesus, he's not that. We've played a few challenge games, and we've played some Super League games there, and I played centre-back. And, look, as I said at the start of the year, I'm kind of the mindset that when I was going back, I want to enjoy it. And I'm really enjoying it now, and I kind of said that to our manager as well, that whether I'm starting or coming on, I give my services, and it's just about enjoying it. And as I said the last couple of weeks, we were trying to ask stuff there now because the pitches were, I suppose, waterlogged and stuff. And look, I love doing those 90 or 100 metre runs, and you've young lads beside you, and they're saying, "Oh, that fella's going in front of me there."
Right.
And I just love that challenge of it. And as I said, look, I have 2 young girls at home now as well. I'm the youngest lady you see as 3 today, so it'd be lovely for her to see Dad playing football. No, I might be retired by the time she actually goes to a game but no, while I'm enjoying it, I'm still going to play it.
And I presume when you're going up against a club opponent down in Kerry, the red carpet is rolled out for you because you're Aidan O'Mahony.
Yeah, I don't know the red carpet, but maybe special attention on the pitch. But I'd say that anything else. But no. I suppose anytime some young fella sees me coming in the pitch now, it's give this for the good old roasting here now. He's probably gone old in the tooth. But look, I like that challenge of it too. And no, look, I think it's important because I know, like when you finish playing into county, people talk about that void. I was probably fortunate enough. I didn't see the void because I went off dancing. It's probably another madness side to it. But no, like the club scene is very important. And we've good numbers training at the moment, and I suppose we were unfortunate after 20 years we went from senior down to intermediate last year. So it's a big year for the club. We know ourselves that it's going to be a tough year, and we just want to do well and kind of really push on with, I suppose, the young lads coming through as well, and bring that kind of mentality that we want to be at the top table, but to get up there you need to really earn it, and we know that's ahead of us this year.
Well, listen, Aidan, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. Just to mention again that Aidan O'Mahony is an ambassador for Connecticut Night Run. You can go on to nightrun.ie for more information now. It takes place on the 26th of April in Dublin. Aidan O'Mahony, thanks a million.
Thank you all.